Welcome to new video published by Easy Chin Approve. We want to make global regulations transparent and simple to understand and maintain. This time we want to introduce Chinese registration from the view of American manufacturers or who has experience in US FDA. We believe knowing the difference in regional legislative is the key to have an edge. We start a briefing about the most important agencies in the world. Then we should know the foundation of the whole story, legislative of medical device. Another usual gap analysis at preparation of registration is to determine the pathway which is close related to classification and product code in US and China. It occurs submission of technical documentation to authority in which testing and clinical evaluation are always critical. At the end, we provide an overview of cost and time to enter American and Chinese market. The post-market surveillance accompanies the lifecycle of medical device in field. In the whole introduction, we limit the comparison of medical device and for foreign manufacturers. The most influence agencies in the world should be Federal Regulatory Agency in US and National Medical Products Administration in China. They are not only issuing regulation but the organization among them is Center for Devices and Radiological Health, CDRH in US, and Chinese Medical Device Evaluation, CMDE, are deciding product approval after review. In this video, we will compare the typical pre-market notification, abbreviated 510K, in FDA and initial registration of Class 2 and 3 medical device in China. The prerequisite to submit product dossier is to have a legal person in both markets, US and Chinese agent. They act as liaison between foreign manufacturer and authority. Chinese agent has more liability and has to coordinate post-market actions. There are two resources of law in U.S., Title 21, Chapter 9 and Subchapter V, Drugs and Devices in FD and C Act Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, published by FDA. Besides it, there are supporting guidance and standards. The manufacturer should fulfill quality system regulation under 21 CFR 820. However, it doesn't need to be inspected and certified for each manufacturer. In China, the highest law is State Council Ordinance 739, Regulations on Supervisory Management of Medical Devices, in 2021. There are supporting orders, guidance, state, and industrial standards. Due to Chinese language of regulation, sometimes brief formulated in standards in lower edition, it seems to be difficult to understand. However, the quality of Chinese legislative is higher with the time and the content is straightforward and product-specific supportive for manufacturers. In both markets there are unique topic-tailored guidances as about software function, including standalone, packaging validation, bench testing and even labeling, review and technical documentation. There are 1, 2, 3 class of medical device in both markets. It is risk-based. The higher class of medical device has, the higher demand of technical documentation is to be reviewed. To determine classification, it is essential to match intended use with product code. In US, there are 3 digits product code, as well 6 digits regulation number, and in China 6 digits product code. As one example in table, the 6 digits Chinese product code has 3 levels. The first level, in this case 21 medical software, is under the main 22 product groups, similar to 16 classification panels at FDA. Product code guides you to find classification, referenced regulation completing the registration. Now is time to submit official technical documentation from manufacturer to authority. As of 2023, it is obligatory to use electronic submission templates (STAR) in US. In China, it is aligning international regulated product submission with defined submission folder. We list the main table of content of technical documentation. There is acceptance review brief after submission, initial registration in China to 510K in US. Surprisingly, under main sections are chapters between US and Chinese market. There are huge similarities. At Chinese technical documentation, there are additional chapters of clinical evaluation and quality system describing production. For US 510K, it is declared as substantial equivalence to another legally US marketed device. This equivalent philosophy is a Chinese chapter comparison with predicate device and clinical evaluation. In both markets, manufacturers could find requirements of each technical file and even review checklist before submission in useful guidance. How to prepare efficiently market-specific technical document. To master the critical parts is the tactic. The most time and budget consuming is local testing. In USA, usability study for many products with US citizen is essential. In China, the local testing is called type testing. In China, for Class 2 and 3 medical device, manufacturer has to send device to China by state-accredited testing institutes. The performance and functional specifications should not deviate than required in national and industrial standards or by manufacturer own stated. The final reports are a part of technical documents. Another challenging part is clinical evaluation based on literature, clinical study and post-market surveillance. Fortunately, there is no clinical evaluation in all registration types in US. In China, there are two arts of clinical evaluation, simplified CER and complex CER. For the later one, it is similar but lower than Europeans' clinical evaluation, MDCG 2020-13. For clinical evaluation, manufacturer has to compare with approved own or third-party equivalent device in China. Since in China you should edit a special clinical evaluation with some Chinese requirements, the clinical need is more demanding in China than in US. Please pay product-specific attention that the claims should always have evidence to grant. Let us have a look at other regulatory factors, cost and time of registration. In US, manufacturer has to pay annual fee. The price of $510K is quite similar to initial 2 medical device in China. For PMA in US, it is way expensive than initial registration of Class 2 or 3 medical device in China. However, in US the approval is valid forever. We would say that it is worthy to start a costly application of medical device in both markets. The time to get a final approval is also thrilling to follow. Within 100 working days for 510K and 180 working days of PMA, FDA should complete its review. In China, for Class 3, the review time is almost the same as for PMA in US. Chinese authority needs longer, 155 working days, for Class 2 medical device than 510K. Regarding reply time of deficiency on site of manufacturer, Chinese authority allows less strict 1-year time to reply in contrary to 180 working days for additional information in US. There is acceptance review brief after submission in both markets. Please be aware both agencies are free approachable. FDA has from beginning professional pre-submission meeting. NMPA has given possibility to exchange with manufacturer in case of new product features and to provide hint at deficiency stage. After product approval and sales, it starts observation of product in field called post-market surveillance. In term of overseas inspection, so far there are more possibilities to be inspected by US authority than Chinese authority on site of foreign manufacturers. However, after medical device is placed in China, in all supply chains products can be chosen to test upon requirements already proved at registration. In term post-market surveillance, in US is more passive in product risk-based approach. FDA can order 2 primary types of mandatory post-market studies, so-called 522 studies, also referred to as post-market surveillance studies, and post-approval studies, PA. In China, manufacturer has to actively submit annual quality system self-report and periodic risk evaluation report. I hope that after this video many have clear understanding what is waiting prior to, during and after Chinese registration. If you want to learn more details of all topics around regulatory affairs and regulatory soft skills, join our 1-year academy or bring the trouble in real market and finalize own solution with our expert and on-demand workshop. Guaranteed is personal coach all the time. Don't forget to follow our newsletter, LinkedIn and YouTube. Write us for any inquiry using free consulting. We can be your interim manager in all kinds of projects.